Hello there, my friends. It's your buddy Phil here, project management trainer and coach. We got a question in from one of our students, Nia. And question says, hello, Phil, great tutorials regarding the planning process group. Some of the publications, which publications? List estimate activity resource after sequencing activities and not after plan resource management. Well, they probably have got their own arrangement, the way they do stuff themselves. And then you went further to say in the PMP guide, 6th edition, it does not list as such. It mirrors what you presented in the tutorial video. Oh, you might be watching some old tutorials, Nia. I'm not sure. And then you said for the PMP exam, should we consider moving the estimate activity resources up in the planning process when asking the question? Well, the bottom line is, where does it belong? It belongs to resources, right? So when you're thinking about this stuff, you need to ask yourself, what am I doing and what makes the most sense in terms of what comes next? So think about it. And I'm just going to use abbreviations here. But the order of things you do, or maybe I can type them in. So you plan, schedule, management, right? After you plan, schedule, management, you define activities. And bear in mind, these are just process names. They don't always follow in strict rotation. For example, you could do create WBS and define activities all at once. In fact, the PMP guide tells you this, that you can do many things all at once. Sequence activities could come next. And what you're saying is pretty much something to the effect of, if I follow this pattern, like do this, then do this, what is the next thing to do? Yeah, you could very well just come down here and do an assessment. Let me give you an idea of how I see this. I see this in this fashion, right? Projects are different. Sometimes you have to estimate activity durations first and get an overall idea of how long, just an overall idea of how long things will be. And then you could very well hop on down to estimate activity resources. And you have an interrelationship that looks more like this. That way, and then back again. And this can continue in several iterations. What is a duration? What is a possibility? Based on the activity attributes, and going back and forth until you get to a convenient point, and then you say, okay, based on what I know about my resources, this is what my duration is going to be, you see? But guess what else is going to impact your schedule? Other things that you are yet to factor in. What are those other things? You need to be factoring in something else. And that other thing you need to be factoring in happens far, far away. Take a look at this. What do you think I'm alluding to? Why don't you follow me to the PMP guide? Let's open it up. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So, estimate activity durations. If you go to that process in the guide, 6.4, and if you follow me to that image that shows you all the stuff going in on page 195, there is something of interest here. And I'm just going to type that in a different color. That thing of interest going in here is your risk register. Why on earth is a risk register coming from supposedly below? It's coming from below because there are many different contributors to the duration. So in other words, you've got your process identify risks, giving you the risk register. So you're not technically moving anything up when you say, oh, I need to do estimate activity resources because I've got my resource breakdown structure going in here, and I also have my resource requirements, to mention but a few of the things you have going in. You see what I'm saying? So you cannot just look at a process as this happens first, then this, then this, then it doesn't always work like that. You see, project management has to be iterative, has to be dynamic, and you cannot bucketize these processes in strict rotation. I always find it kind of amusing when I see people trying to bucketize the processes and put them in a cookie cutter fashion. You cannot do that, because in the world of agile, remember, things happen in a different manner. And there's nothing wrong in having feedback loops. So there are many, many, many feedback loops. And some of these I cover in the training that we do. Okay. And that's why I tell people, you might want to take a look at some of the training aids we have or come to the training we do, because we always tell students, don't follow the cookie cutter method. There are many, many possibilities as you take a look at this. One more possibility that you have comes from a process many people do not consider. So I know many people think, oh, the develop project charter process is come and gone, but it's not. Right here we have develop project charter coming into the picture. Why is it coming into the picture? Think about it for a minute and let me know if you come up with an idea. So I guess you can see on the screen what is happening. Project charter is not the only thing that comes out of here. The assumption log comes out, goes in here. So we cannot afford to do this stuff linearly anymore. We need to think about those hidden links that occur all throughout the PMBOK guide. You're just going to mine for the information, all right? Mine for the information, all right? There's a lot of stuff which, theoretically speaking, happens in tandem. But when you look at the page 25, if you're not really understanding that process groups are just groups, they don't happen in sequence, they're just groups that overlap very heavily. If you don't, remember that, you're going to think everything is in strict rotation, and it's not. So you're not technically moving estimate activity resources up. You're just doing whatever is required to get a precise duration estimate. You're adding anything from the list, you see. Like that page I asked you to open to, it's like a menu. You just go to the menu, look at the list, look at what's available, what do you want? Okay, then we need the risk register, we need the RBS, resource requirements. There are other possibilities like the assumption log and so on. I hope this helps you get some further clarity, and thank you for the question. I wish you all the best on the test. Don't forget, visit our website, www.praizion.com. Sign up for our training. We got one coming up next week. We got chapter 3 coming up, and then we got the 63% of the exam coming up pretty soon. The tech camp where we have integration. You do not want to miss it. Go sign up. Talk to you soon.